How is everybody doing today? Welcome back to another episode of The Banker Next Door. I am your host, Dr. Joe Berquist. Today, I wanted to talk to everyone about Social Security benefits. We just had what's called the COLA, which is the cost of life adjustment. Just got made to the Social Security benefits, but let's ask, was it enough? When does it kick in? So I'm going to try to answer some of those questions here today. We're going to look at a couple different articles, but I want everybody to try to hang on into the end because I am going to go to the Social Security Administration website to give you a look at that. And I'm going to show you an example of what your Social Security statement should look like, what you should be receiving from basically the SSA.gov. So for any youngsters, for any younger people out there, that maybe any teenagers, young adults, whatever, that have not yet seen a Social Security statement or not really aware of how this works or where to go, might want to hang out and check this out. So for anybody who's not aware, but for anybody who is, let's take a look real quick at what's going on here. What did they just do, and what's this going to mean for me? So this is an article from Investopedia. This is called Social Security Benefits Were Adjusted This Week. One expert said it may not be enough. So the government adjusts Social Security benefits yearly to align with inflation, but some estimates show beneficiaries may be losing purchasing power. The Social Security Administration announced the annual cost of living adjustment, or COLA, for 2025 on Thursday, increasing benefits by 2.5%. The benefits increase will be paid starting in January. It's always paid. They're always kind of announced in October, and then it gets paid in January of that following year. So Social Security adjustments have been criticized for lagging behind inflation, as the Social Security Administration calculates the benefit increases based on the third quarter annual inflation rate for the prior year. The nonpartisan advocacy group, the Senior Citizens League, estimates the lag has cost enrollees 20% of their buying power over the last 14 years. The Social Security Administration would have to increase the average payment by $4,440 per year, or $370 a month, to recover the lost value, they estimate. Investopedia spoke with Shannon Breton, executive director of the Senior Citizens League, about how enrollees should adjust their budgets to contend with less purchasing power. Let's see here. How are Social Security enrollees budgets affected by this loss in buying power? And Shannon basically says, we did a recent survey, and 62% of seniors say having enough money to cover bare essentials is one of their top retirement concerns. So half of seniors are saying that they're concerned about making ends meet in retirement. I think most of them are doing what they can, but unfortunately, a lot of them are also carrying credit card debt. They're getting stuck with that compounding interest, which compounds the problem. Beneficiaries are having to cut back. There's no wiggle room for them financially. For many of them to experience the joys of everyday life that you and I would, they can't afford to go to the movies. Some of them can't even afford to get cable or internet access to their house. I can't afford to go to the movies. But they're down to the bare bones. I know that they're shopping more at farmers markets and food banks and getting SNAP benefits if they qualify for them, but a lot of them are just worrying. They are also dipping into the retirement savings. A lot of folks have indicated to us that they've basically used up their retirement savings. So, what needs to happen to rectify the situation? Shannon goes on to say part of it is that the cost of living adjustment is based on just one quarter in the previous year. So if seniors struggled through high inflation in March, April, and May, as long as inflation dips in July, August, and September, it's kind of a wash or a negative even. So that's a problem. What can Social Security beneficiaries do to cope with losing the buying power? Social Security beneficiaries who are having trouble making ends meet, we suggest calling your local area agency on aging. They will be able to guide you in the right direction for assistance in your local area, be that food banks, SNAP benefits, other tips and resources that they know of. Use those senior discounts when you can. A lot of grocery stores have selected mornings where seniors can go in and get a percentage off their groceries. Look at your farmers markets and your local food banks. Nobody should have to go hungry. And then it basically is, so that's kind of that piece of it. And then we go on to the next article here. So Social Security's 2.5% boost, what enrollees need to know now. So the Social Security Administration announced that the 68 million Americans who receive benefits will receive, again, this 2.5% more in the new year to combat inflation. Although announced today, enrollees will not see their changes to their payments until January. And the Social Security Administration calculates that cost of living adjustment, again, using that third quarter thing. And again, this is kind of interesting. So how is the Social Security COLA calculated? The COLA is determined using a formula outlined in the Social Security Act to help beneficiaries keep up with inflation. The formula uses increases in the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, the CPIW, from the third quarter of one year to the third quarter of the next. So this means the adjustment for next year is based on the changes in inflation rates during July, August, and September of 2024 compared to the same 3 months of 2023. When will I start receiving increased Social Security payments? Although the COLA calculation was announced Thursday, benefits will change over in the new year. So again, like we said, and then how does this compare to previous year's COLA adjustments? Last year, beneficiaries received a 3.2% increase in benefits as inflation had slowed. And then here's kind of a chart from the Social Security Administration. Retirees' raises are stabilizing as inflation is slowing down. So you can see here, like in 23, they had probably one of the largest increases they've had in 40 years at 8.7%. I mean, you have to go back to 09 when they had 5.8, and even like 2002 where they had 5.8, 5.9 as well. But yeah, 8.7 in 23. 3.2 here in 24, and then 2.5% in 25. So let's see here. And then we have here just kind of a, Social Security cost of living adjustments lag behind inflation, like we talked about, and, represented in this chart. Okay, so now we know that, basically, so if you got Social Security, your COLA is going to be 2.5%, for your COLA adjustment is going to be 2.5%. You'll see that in January. But let's take a look at some other things here. So this is the Social Security Administration. This is the website. This is basically ssa.gov. So basically you have a number of options when you first come on here. At the top, they have benefits. And then you have Medicare, you have cards and records. So if you need to get another card, basically manage benefits and information, replace a card, request number for the first time, report a stolen number, payments, update your direct deposit record, change name, documents for verification. And then and then at the top here, it basically says prepare. You can check eligibility for benefits, get a benefits estimate, plan for retirement, apply for benefits, sign up for Medicare, apply for SSI. And then after you apply, check application or appeal status and the appeal decision that they made. You can kind of go down here, learn about your account, see how we're doing, cost of living COLA, and then it goes through, a number of different things here at the bottom. And then down here at the very bottom, it has like different, latest news from Social Security Administration. You can follow on social media. And at the bottom here, contact us, find an office, publications, report fraud, all this other stuff. So again, pretty, okay website here from the Social Security Administration. It allows you to basically do like the basics of things you need to do. If you need to replace a card, if you need to apply for benefits, if you need to check decisions, estimate benefits, that kind of thing. But everybody should go on here and sign up, because Social Security, what they used to do is every year as you worked, and once you got, I think you got a couple of years in, maybe you were 5 years or 10 years in the workforce, or whatever. Then they used to send you these statements. They used to send you like a 4-page statement you get in the mail every year, just kind of like, oh, how am I doing? And they would give you estimates on retirement and stuff like that. And that's basically what we're going to look at now. So this is your Social Security statement here. And I'm going to zoom in here in a minute, but I just wanted to kind of run through. So this is basically, so you used to get 4 pages. Now it's basically a 2-page statement. So on the first page here, it talks about retirement benefits, personalized monthly retirement benefit estimates, depending on your age. When you start, you could start at 62, and then the max pullout is at age 70. Disability benefits, survivors benefits, Medicare. And then on the second page here, it talks about earnings, record, earnings not covered by Social Security, important things to know about your Social Security benefits. And then it basically gives you, a rundown on what, your earnings tax for Social Security, earnings tax for Medicare. And it just tells you like kind of what you did throughout your working career through your life. And then your, total taxes paid here at the bottom. So a lot of really good information that they give you on this statement. And if you sign up, sign up, create an account, make sure you have an account there with the Social Security Administration, and then they will basically email this to you every year. And they will also email you updates and things like that, periodic things that happen throughout that time frame. But again, I mean, even if you're in your 20s, and you've only been working for a couple of years or whatever, you should definitely sign up. You want to get this because this document, will become very important as you begin to get a little bit older, as you get into your 40s, your 50s, as you begin to approach that, early retirement age of 62. You definitely want to be looking at this document and just kind of seeing like, okay, how much have I been paying in? What are my estimated, what are my projected estimates for what Social Security is going to pay me down the road, because that will all work in with your retirement planning with your financial advisor. So you'll go back to your financial advisor, you'll be saving money, hopefully in a 401k, maybe putting some money into like an IRA also, that kind of thing. And you kind of work all this together in your plan. When you're sitting down with your financial advisor, you say, hey, here's my Social Security statement. Here's what my estimate, maybe I'm 40 years old. I've been working for 18 or 20 years. And, here's how I'm doing so far. Here's what my estimated, benefits are going to look like. Say I plan on retiring when I'm 76. Here's what, so if I zoom in here for a second, hold on, let me zoom in here for a second. Okay. So you can see here, like early retirement at 62 would be $1,400 a month. Most people, the standard retirement age, like for me, I'm pretty sure my standard retirement age is 67. So if you go the standard retirement age 67, you get 2,119. And again, these are just estimates. They're not, your numbers are going to vary based on what you pay in. And then if you want the maximum benefit, you wait until you're 70 years old before you start taking out or receiving the Social Security. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to work until you're 70. It just means that you don't start receiving the Social Security benefits until you're 70. So you might retire when you're 65, and you might just live off of income out of your retirement accounts for 5 years. And then when you hit 70, then you start taking then you start dipping into the Social Security. Then you start taking the maximum benefits. So again, this is just a age range based on when you actually start to take the benefit itself. So again, you can see like, again, your maximum benefit would be if you delay the benefit until you're 70 years old. Now, one question you might be asking is like, well, why does the government do it like this? Well, because unfortunately, there's this thing called ageism. And most people, by the time they get to be 60 years old, or they're getting their early 60s, 62, 63, a lot of people get laid off from their job. And then they can't find another job, or they can't find another job paying as well as the job that they had for 30, 40 years. And so a lot of people get forced into taking the early retirement, which is great for the government because that's less money that they now have to pay out to that beneficiary. So it's kind of messed up the way this whole thing works. I don't like it. I would advocate for a ridiculous amount of change here to Social Security. First of all, I don't think Social Security should be taxed because you already pay taxes on it. I am not down with taxing Social Security at all. And that should go back. I think you should go back to full payout at 62, or if you work a maximum, in other words, you put your 40 years in. And I don't care when you put the 40 years in. Like if you start working when you're 18 and so at 58, you've got your 40 years in. There you go. You should be able, like, in other words, as soon as you have documented with the IRS, with Social Security, that you have worked full time for 40 years, and you've got that in there, whenever that is, boom, you should start being able to get your money at early age at 62, or, if you got to catch up, or maybe you got to work till you're 64 or 65 to get your 40 years in, whatever the case may be. But you should be able to get the full benefit as soon as you kind of have X amount of time in. End of story. There shouldn't be any of this. Oh, wait till you're 70 or work till you're 67 or whatever. This, just this kind of nonsense. These games that they play with you. So, but anyway, I hope, like I said, I hope maybe somebody who's not familiar with looking at some of this stuff, has not seen a Social Security statement before or hasn't seen the Social Security website. Again, good things to look at, good things to be aware of. I will, I definitely want to do an episode one day on the history of Social Security. Obviously, Social Security came into play in, I believe it was 1934, as part of the New Deal, which President Roosevelt put in place. FDR put in place, during kind of the Great Depression. And there's a whole story about the first woman that received Social Security. The first person to receive Social Security benefit was a woman. I forget her name off the top of my head, but yeah, I'll have to do a whole episode on that, just talking about the history of Social Security. And there have been 8 major, tax changes related to Social Security over the years. I'd like to go over all that because the last major one was in 1983 when they decided to, wait for it, start to tax the Social Security benefits, of course. So I would love to, I'd love to do kind of a whole episode on that, because I think it's really interesting information. I think a lot of people would find it very fascinating, because I think, most people are not aware of it, because it was, last major change was 40 years ago now. It's hard to believe that, 1983 was actually 41 years ago. But it's hard to believe it's been that long already. So, but anyway, okay. Well, I'll wrap up with this. If you like this episode, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, we are on YouTube, Rumble, and all major podcast platforms. Please make sure to leave your comments down below, as I always love getting back to everybody. Make sure to check out some of the other content on the channel, and please remember, live stream, BND Strategy Room live stream every Friday night, 7 o'clock on YouTube. Come on there, check it out. Check out some of the information that I post out there, ask questions, and hopefully you hang out for a little while and have a good time. But other than that, I will see everybody real soon. Like I said, BND Strategy Room, check it out. Have a great one. I'll see you guys real soon. Thanks.